Welcome to part 2 of why Hasan is so hated in 2025. Part 1 stirred up a lot of opinions, and whether you agree or disagree, one thing is for sure, Hasan Piker hasn't exactly been laying low.
Let's talk about our favorite flags.
Oh, like overall, what my
Yeah.
favorite flag?
Yeah.
Hezbollah. Look it up.
Oh.
I'm not even kidding. It's actually a dope flag.
I don't know flags.
It's this is a.
You know what? I'm going to be brave.
What?
My favorite flag.
It's got an AK on it and a fucking hand holding it up.
Wow. Son.
Or.
We might have to cut this.
We're behind the paywall. It's fine.
Since the last episode, he's debated Ethan Klein live, reacted to the H3 content nuke, reunited feuds with other content creators like Nux, Tectone, and Asmongold, got questioned by US Customs and Border Protections, and received yet another Twitch ban. In short, the controversies just keep piling up. Let's dive into what's happened and why more and more people have turned against Hasan in 2025. On May 2nd, 2025, Hasan and Ethan Klein got on a live stream call to discuss Gaza, terrorism, and Israel. But instead of a calm, productive conversation, the debate devolved into a hostile, uncomfortable exchange. One that highlighted some of Hasan's most questionable views. Now, I'm not claiming to be an expert on Middle Eastern politics, but you don't need to be an expert to recognize how careless and at times outright baffling some of Hasan's statements were. He deflected simple questions, downplayed acts of terrorism, and made arguments that seemed more performative than principled. One of the first controversies to surface during the discussion was Hasan's infamous swastika sword. During the debate, Ethan called out Hasan for his sword collection, specifically a weapon Hasan has publicly referred to as the swastika sword. And yes, that's what he calls it.
When I made fun of, I believe it was Alexa that grabbed it, and I said, "Oh, you immediately go for the swastika one." Yeah, exactly. Do you think?
Anyway, my point is, Hasan, if I can continue my point, is that you knew it was a swastika sword. So why did you guys choose to pose with this sword?
Ethan,
answer that. Why was the choice made for this sword?
I'm gonna gently explain this to you again. One, it's not a swastika, but regardless.
Do you think it looks like a swastika?
I did not make this editorial decision. I wasn't even.
Do you think it's reasonable to perceive that as a swastika?
Ethan,
answer the question. Is it reasonable to perceive that?
I don't think it was a deliberate decision that IDubbbz made, but I don't know. I don't know his mind.
Hasan, they're your swords, and according to the New York Times article, there was 10 options. So what's the chances that they chose the swastika one? That seems pretty slim.
Well,
you have 10 swords, don't you?
The week prior to that, I believe. I don't know the exact timeline. I don't really remember when they shot this, but I had the sword out because I was doing an Assassin's Creed promo. Do you feel like if I thought it was like genuinely a swastika sword, I would use it in an Assassin's Creed promo shot?
Yes.
The sword itself is a replica from the anime Bleach, and the symbol on it is technically not a Nazi swastika, but a traditional Buddhist manji. That said, context matters. Hasan wasn't discussing religious iconography or Japanese symbolism. He was using the term swastika sword as a punchline and clearly didn't even know what anime it came from.
Ichigo.
Ichigo?
Ichigo's Bankai.
From what?
Bleach.
Oh, it's fucking sick. Let's do it. Here.
Oh, hey, what the fuck?
Even after attending the anime convention where the sword came from, Hasan continued referring to it by that name. Clips circulated where he explicitly says he hasn't watched Bleach and isn't even a fan.
Sword, and that you don't even watch Bleach. First of all, I've read Bleach and I didn't read the whole thing. I'm not like the biggest fan, self-admittedly. I never watched the anime, but I did get the sword at an anime convention on camera because it was fucking cool.
Ethan's argument was simple. Regardless of the intent, Casual use of that label, especially without any understanding of its origin, sends a harmful message. For Jewish viewers especially, it can easily be interpreted as a dog whistle. Hasan wasn't just ignorant, he was dismissive when it was pointed out how damaging his choice of words could be. Instead of owning up to it, Hasan tried to pivot. He brought up Ethan's past sketch where Ethan jokingly drew a swastika on PewDiePie. Ethan would have a solid rebuttal saying that he's Jewish and he can make that joke if he wants to.
You have that much of an issue with swastikas considering you drew one on PewDiePie.
I'm a Jewish man, you fucking moron.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Is anyone in that room Jewish?
Was
anyone in that room? Did I draw swastika one time on?
Do you think that Jews have an exclusivity agreement with like being offended or not offended by Nazi imagery? You've done a Sig Heil approximately what 50 times.
Why did I do a Sig Heil? Why did I do a Sig Heil?
I don't know.
Because you only watch clips on Twitter. I was making fun of Elon Musk and trying to see if it was valid or not.
Oh, thank you.
When Hasan pushed back, Ethan dropped this gem saying, "Are you going to tell black people that they can't say the N-word if it offends you?" And here's where Hasan's logic really falls apart. He claimed it wasn't the same, but offered no real explanation. But it's the same principle.
And by the way, as a Jewish man, are you going to tell black people not to use the N-word?
Wait, what?
Are you going to tell black people not to use the N-word because it offends you?
Do you think this is an apt comparison?
Yes.
Okay. So you think that being able to draw the your anti-Semitism radar is completely out of whack.
And who are you to say that to me? You pose with a swastika.
You're saying that it's not a swastika, and you know it's not a swastika.
I mean, it literally is a swastika.
No, it's not.
Let me see the sword.
Members of marginalized groups have the right to reclaim or mock symbols tied to their trauma. Hasan, who is neither Jewish nor black, doesn't get to police that. This moment made one thing painfully clear. Hasan often speaks on issues he doesn't fully understand, and when called out, he deflects instead of reflecting. His audience may tolerate it, but to the rest of the internet, it looks like arrogance disguised as activism. After the sword incident, Ethan brought up something smaller, but just as revealing about Hasan's inconsistencies: his soft drink of choice. While live streaming, Hasan was seen drinking Dr. Pepper. Innocent enough until you realize Dr. Pepper is on the official BDS boycott list.
By the way, is that a hold on, what are you drinking?
It's a Dr. Pepper cream
Isn't that
soda.
Who owns that?
I don't know, but it's not on the BDS
Are
national
you sure?
BDS list.
We'll double check.
Yes, I'm 100% sure. I'm 100% sure. I'm 100% sure. I'm 100% sure.
For those of you unfamiliar, BDS stands for Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions, a global campaign supporting Palestinian rights by encouraging economic pressure on companies aligned with Israel's institutions. This isn't the first time Hasan has been caught being careless about this issue. In the past, fans have called him out for consuming other BDS targeted brands.
Stop getting into my photos. Yeah, I'm sorry, bro. Yeah. This happens quite a bit. Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah. Thanks so much.
I'm sorry, I forgot to say you need to stop drinking Coke Zero on stream.
Why?
It's boycott.
Wait, is it?
You're preaching pro-Palestine and you're drinking all this boycott stuff. Please, Hasan, at least pretend. Do it off stream. Please.
Okay, I'll put it in a glass. Is Pepsi okay?
No.
No soda, son.
I didn't know it was like that.
I'm trying to stop it, isn't that?
You hosted him in his home and I watched him on stream drink Coke Zero.
Yeah,
It's your house. You get to say no.
Yeah, he should have smacked
You get
it.
to say this is a BDS zone.
You're right. Well, we kept the Cokes outside. We have to go out to get them.
Yeah, he made
It didn't stop
as
him.
difficult as possible for me to get it.
Well, Shaitan and Shaitan's agent, go to the protest.
Okay, have a
And
good one.
stop drinking Coke.
It's completely right. That was...
Damn.
And yet, here he is again supporting companies that directly contradict the very movement he claims to support. This isn't about canceling people over soda, it's about consistency. If you're going to build your brand around political advocacy and speak with authority on Palestinian liberation, you should probably know which companies you're supposed to avoid. At the very least, you should care enough to check. The takeaway? Hasan only follows his values when it's convenient, and Dr. Pepper was apparently more important than the boycott he promotes. Next came one of the most controversial parts of the entire debate, October 7th. Ethan brought up numerous reports detailing the horrific abuse of women during the Hamas-led terrorist attack on Israel. These reports were corroborated by international observers and widely circulated across both Israel and neutral media outlets. Hasan's response? Denial. Rather than acknowledging the brutality of what happened, Hasan repeatedly cast doubt on the evidence, implying that many of the accounts were fabricated or exaggerated.
And yet, not that rapes happened.
What?
You deny that mass rapes happened, not that rapes happened. Listen to my words.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I do
good.
deny
Well, there you go.
Because there is no evidence. And
I just
for the
showed you
record,
two.
The clips that you used, ironically
Actually, I
enough,
showed
the
you
reason why I
three.
say it's out of context is because at that point, I personally took a position where I said very carefully and very deliberately that mass rapes that are directed by Hamas did not happen. There was no evidence for this whatsoever.
4 survivors told authorities they were sexually assaulted on October 7th. Report. First-hand account of such crimes have been rare, as most
And
victims
not
were
only-
killed. Hassan. Report
Do you
follows
feel-
earlier
Wait,
testimony from a man
okay.
who said he was raped by terrorists at the Nova Festival. 4 people have told authorities that they were sexually assaulted by terrorists on October 7th. Channel 12 reports. On Thursday, adding to a growing body of evidence of the systemic sexual assault committed by Hamas.
He took a defensive posture, questioning the credibility of the reports without providing any meaningful counter evidence. This wasn't just uncomfortable, it was disturbing. There's a big difference between criticizing a government and denying atrocities committed by a terrorist organization. When you downplay or outright reject clear evidence of war crimes because it clearly fits your narrative, you're no longer engaging in thoughtful political analysis, you're spreading misinformation. This moment alienated many people who might have once supported Hasan's pro-Palestine stance. Because if your activism requires you to deny real victims their humanity, maybe you're not fighting for justice, you're just picking a side. Following the October 7th debate, the conversation took another sharp turn, this time into Hasan's open support for groups widely recognized as terrorist organizations. Ethan brought up Hasan's past comments in favor of Hezbollah, a group designated as a terrorist organization by the US, the EU, and others. Hasan's response was far from reassuring. Instead of distancing himself from Hezbollah, he offered vague ideological justifications and danced around labeling the group as violent or extremist.
Explain to you something so you recognize that you're wrong, as you've done twice now.
No, you don't need to
so
explain
this is
anything to me. I
productive
understand your point. Don't you? So you're accusing me of being irresponsible with my words. Don't you think saying you have no issue with Hezbollah makes people think you're pro-terrorist?
I don't care that people think this. It's ridiculous.
So are people valid for thinking you're pro-terrorist?
Do you believe the State
Answer.
Department's designation for
Answer the
terrorism is
question.
valid?
Is it reasonable for people to think that you are pro-terrorist when you say I have no problem with Hezbollah?
Do you believe the State Department's designation for terrorism is valid?
You answer my question, and I'll answer yours. Are people valid?
Ethan,
and considering
you rely heavily on your audience not really understanding the terms that you are using.
Let it be noted you are dodging.
When you say, "Oh, Hasan defends terrorists," okay, there's a reason why you say that. You say that to disparage me without actually addressing my arguments. And now when you're faced with me face to face to talk about these issues, you agree with me. So if you agree with me, You called Hezbollah a noble group. Should I
In the
just run
beginning,
around
shit
being like Ethan
changed.
defense terrorism? I think you do, but
I
for a
said their
different reason,
actions
and we'll
were
get to that
noble. I
in a
didn't call
second.
them a noble group. Again, you have a problem with the truth.
If it didn't stop there, Ethan also pressed Hasan about his now infamous interview with a self-proclaimed Houthi pirate, a man known online as Tim Houthi Chalamet. In that interview, which aired months earlier, Hasan entertained his rhetoric without much pushback, even downplaying the Houthis' affiliation.
You said that the Houthi Luffy was not a pirate.
He's not.
Or I'm sorry, not Houthi affiliated.
He's not. But even if he was, I wouldn't care. I hope you understand that. I do not.
That's rewriting
think,
history.
I'm going to say this very clearly.
No. It's not that you cared. It's that you fucking glazed
right now. 10 toes down. Are you ready for this?
Go ahead.
I believe what the Houthis are doing in terms of stopping Israel doing a genocide to implement a blockade on the Red Sea is a good thing. 10 toes down. They are on the morally right side. Don't you also think they're on the morally right side, Ethan?
What have they done?
You're saying that it's a genocide. What
have they done?
are they supposed to do?
They hijacked a boat that had nothing to do with Israel?
That's
like
not
fucking
true.
bravo.
That's not true.
Really? What was that? What did it have to do with Israel?
It was literally owned by an Israeli through the
It was
fucking
partially
islands.
owned, is a big multi-conglomerate company that was partially owned by an Israeli.
Yes. And
it was bound for fucking for Turkey
matter.
from
What do you mean?
India.
What do you think BDS
they
is,
kidnapped
dude? What do you
five
think BDS stands
totally
for?
unrelated Filipino
You also
fucking
said it
prisoners
wasn't
and
owned by an
kept
Israeli,
the
by the way,
prisoners
in
for
your
a year.
Video. Are you going to take that back too now? Now you admit that you were wrong on that part too?
Take what back?
Wow, what
I
are we
didn't hear
on?
you.
4? 5? How many points have you actually backtracked on?
I don't know
so
what.
far?
Then, in a later stream, Hasan doubled down. When a viewer asked him point blank about the Houthis, Hasan openly said, "Yes, I support the Houthis."
You said Ethan's words can make him seem pro-Zionist and that he should be more thoughtful, but when he pointed out that your language can come off as supportive of terrorism, why not just admit that you're careless sometimes too to his fans? It made you look like you can't admit fault. I have no problem with the Houthis. Yeah, because I don't. What do you mean? If you think I'm a terrorism supporter for that reason, then yeah, I'm a fucking terrorism supporter. What are you talking about? The Houthis and their militancy in the Red Sea is a perfectly moral action. What would you do if there was a genocide happening in your fucking backyard? That's it. And Ethan had no answer for that.
Let that sink in for a bit. This isn't up for interpretation. The Houthis are responsible for attacks on civilian targets, including hijackings and endangering civilian lives. During that interview, Hasan went as far as to compare Tim Houthi Chalamet to Anne Frank and Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece.
Anne Frank died before she could resist. But if she did, I would never
was
hold that
fucking killed
against
in
her.
a concession camp, you
Exactly.
psychopath.
But if she
was
did,
exterminated
but if
with her
she
whole
did,
fucking
I would
family.
never
Her
hold
dad's
that
the only
against
one
her.
that
Would
survived
you?
and recovered
But
her
you
journal.
wouldn't
Are you
hold that
fucking
against her
mad?
either, Ethan. What?
Do you think he's like Anne Frank?
Oh, of course, absolutely.
Did
he
Anne-
has withstood
did Anne-
genocide? He has withstood genocide by the Saudi
that the
government.
only-
Of course I do. I think that talking to, but my
Anne
point that I
Frank-
was fucking presenting, my point that I was
Anne
fucking
Frank
presenting.
is famous for being a pacifist and seeing the good in people despite a fucking Holocaust that took every member of her family but her dad. That's why she's inspiring. This guy went on Twitter and said, fuck Jewish
think
people.
Do you condemn the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising?
I'm going to play this video, okay? He says, ready for maybe I read it.
Sacrifice and eager for martyrdom. Maybe he's talking about football? Here he is singing a song with the words, "Do you threaten us with what we are waiting for, son of a Jew?" Meaning of Houthi is a title, and it's not something to fear, but for the Jews. They are very afraid of this title. The execution we will carry out on all Zionists, with the lovely depiction of a man impaled through his asshole and out of his mouth with a pipe. To every Zionist, I will put this into your stomach. And let me state the obvious. Jew and Zionist is clearly interchangeable to this guy. Okay, but hating Jews...
Hold on. After watching that compilation, you still agree that he's just like Anne Frank?
Did you not hear what I asked you?
I'm just summarizing.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
A comparison that would be laughable if it weren't so dangerously out of touch. Tim has openly embraced the Houthi identity and has posted hateful speech against Jews and appeared in combat gear while boarding captured vessels. If you call yourself Houthi Charlemagne and brag about piracy, there's no ambiguity. Yet Hasan treats him like some sort of folk hero. Then came one of the more personal and unnecessary moments of the debate, Hasan's criticisms of Ethan's wife, Hila. Near the end of the stream, Ethan would bring up Hasan's criticisms of his wife Hila, saying that she should have refused to serve in the Israel Defense Force at 19, even if it meant going to jail. Let's add some context. In Israel, military service is mandatory. Refusing can result in prison time, loss of rights, and long-term repercussions. Hila was a teenager with no power over the system, and Hasan framed her as if she chose to support militarism out of principle. That wasn't just tone deaf, it was hypocritical. Ethan flipped the scenario. If Hasan believes that the US is guilty of atrocities, why doesn't he stop paying taxes and protest? Hasan's answer? It wouldn't do anything.
Do you want this to be unwatchable?
The reason why I know that, Ethan,
I'm take that as a yes.
Breaking the silence veterans who have come out and spoken out against this practice. That's why I know that.
Hasan, you say that Hila could have gone to jail and done a conscientious objection instead of joining the army. Why do you pay taxes?
What?
Why do you pay taxes to the United States government?
This is your big argument, Ethan?
Answer the question.
That I pay taxes and I'm morally culpable? I know. That's why I try to fucking
why don't
fight
you go
against
to jail?
This goddamn government
well,
doing
why
this
don't you
shit
stand
every
up for
day.
your Hold on. Why don't you stand up for your principles and go to jail for it?
Because it would not actually stop, okay? It would not actually stop. The reason why I'm saying
what wouldn't stop?
I don't take issue with Hila's fucking actions then, as long as, just like you said, she was just 19 years old. I take issue with the fact that she still defends it on principle.
What is she?
Let me think about that for a second.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
So let's get this straight. According to Hasan, a 19-year-old girl in a militarized nation should have gone to prison to stand on principle, but he won't even risk an IRS penalty to do the same?
This was legit the worst thing that could happen to the movement? No, it's not. And you guys need to stop doing that. That's another thing that I don't like either, okay? Stop. Have some conviction, okay? Have conviction. Dude, I might actually take Marsh with me to Gaza.
Gaza?
Yeah.
Is it dangerous?
Yeah.
Yes. I unfortunately most likely will not be able to go.
Is it dangerous?
Yeah.
Yes. The people that I did talk to said that they could not give me security assurances.
Is it dangerous?
Yeah.
Yes. Have some conviction. The BDS movement is very directed and hyper targeted, okay, towards a specific brand. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you for the 5 gifted. Thank you for the 5 gifted. Thank you for the 20 gifted subs. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Thank you for the 20 gifted subs. Thank you for the 100 gifted subs. For the 100 gifted subs. Thank you for the 20 community gifted subs. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Have conviction. Defense contractors and their fucking limp-dicked, hog-ass fucking family members.
Why are they talking more about the fucking dumbass Falcon rockets than they're talking about the sick-ass Viasat satellite that my brother made?
Have some conviction. I believe what the Houthis are doing is a good thing. 10 toes fucking down. He just kept asking me over and over again, like Hamas, Houthis, all this shit, trying to be like, oh, do you support them? Do you like them? Like, what do you think about them? 10 toes fucking down. I'm not going to go beyond it. I'm not going to go beyond just like reiterating over and over again. I'm on the side of civilians. I want the endless bloodshed to end. I'm of the Brookings Institute mindset. I talk about these issues from an academic context. There are things that Trump has done that I actually agree with, and I'm not shy about saying those. 10 toes fucking down. Have some conviction, okay? Have conviction.
What? What are you talking about?
That's not conviction. That's cowardice dressed up as ideology. Later, Hasan tried to clarify that his issue wasn't with Hila serving, it was that she justified it. But no evidence of that exists. Hila has never gone on record supporting mandatory conscription. Hasan made that accusation and then failed to back it up again. Not long after that debate, Hasan finally reacted to Ethan Klein's content nuke video, a long-form breakdown of Hasan's behavior, hypocrisy, and political contradictions. While a lot of the content in the video rehashed their debate, I really want to go over the now infamous Houthi pirate interview. Originally aired on January 17, 2024, this interview featured Hasan speaking with Tim Houthi Chalamet, a man who claimed to be part of the Houthi movement, while casually referencing hijackings, violence, and anti-Semitic views online. During his reaction, Hasan continued defending Tim, portraying him as a misunderstood revolutionary rather than what he really is, someone actively aligning with a terrorist organization.
Everything we know about Tim Houthi Chalamet, the influencer celebrating ship raids. A Yemeni man's account has vanished from TikTok after a video showing him touring a captured ship in the Red Sea went viral. Rashid Al-Haddad appears to be part of a new online trend where influencers post content to promote their side of a conflict. Social media has since dubbed him Tim Houthi Chalamet. He regularly shares messages of support for Palestine and Houthi militants, often referred to as pirates in the West. Al-Haddad appears to run numerous social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, and Snapchat with thousands of followers. He has previously shared photos of himself wearing military gear and carrying weapons, but there's no clear evidence that he actually participated in any of the ship raids. The Galaxy Leader, a cargo ship seized by the Houthis last year, is rumored to have become a tourist destination in Yemen and appears to be crawling with people posing and taking photos. While Al-Haddad posts and social media thirsts, the U.S. continues its bombardment of the Houthis' location in Yemen, where militants have been striking at American and British.
Then, on October 15th, 2024, in a follow-up stream with Asmongold, Hasan doubled down. When Tim was brought up, he would say it was no different than speaking to Anne Frank.
We're not like, oh, you're trans, we're gonna kill you. They were like, oh, thank you for your fucking humanitarian aid. They don't give a shit. Like, it's the same as any other kind of person. I talked to a teenager from Yemen, okay, who everyone called, myself included, called Tim Houthi Charlemagne or Chalamet.
Is that the One Piece one?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now this kid is like, I think he was like 19 at the time when I talked to him, which means that for most of his life he has withstood genocide, right?
Sure.
Like he is a person whose only experience is like, it's literally like talking to fucking Anne Frank, basically. Okay, being able to talk to Anne Frank in real time. That's all he's known is death and destruction of his home.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
With
but he's not
American
getting killed by gay people, right? He's not getting killed. Like if he's talking.
Let's be clear, Anne Frank wasn't boarding captured ships or tweeting racist posts about an entire ethnic group. She was a Jewish girl murdered in a genocide. The comparison is really grotesque. Hasan also during the interview jokingly asked if Tim watches One Piece, calling him Luffy, as if that softens the situation.
Okay, this is a stupid question. Okay, you can preface it with that. Does he know what One Piece is?
One Piece, like, is that an organization?
No, One Piece is an anime.
Oh, okay. أول شيء بقول لك إنه ممكن هذا السؤال يكون شوي أهبل، بس بسألك تعرف شو هو One Piece؟ عمرك سمعت ب One Piece؟
أكيد يعني منذ الطفولة وأنا أشاهد ون بيس لوفي.
Luffy?
Yeah, he said he's been watching it since he was a kid.
No way!
Yeah.
That's sick. Yes. That's fire. That's so fire. Oh my god, dude. We think the Houthis Ansar Allah is doing what Luffy would do. You should tell him that.
بقول لك حسن إنه.
Again, this isn't just a bizarre slip-up. It's a pattern. Hasan makes flippant comparisons between violent extremists and fictional or historical heroes, then gets defensive when someone calls him out. This isn't deep political analysis. It's irresponsible and dangerous. When Hasan isn't fumbling geopolitics, he picks fights with other content creators and not just disagreeing with them, but actively slandering them. Let's start with Nux Taku, a popular VTuber and longtime content creator. Back in the day, Nux made edgy videos, including ones that involved reacting to borderline or explicit anime content. Critics had tried to use this to label him problematic, sometimes unfairly. Hasan took that and ran with it, calling Nux a pedophile repeatedly on stream.
Bro, my barber's a fan of the blue VTuber, and he got so pissed when I called him a lolly enjoyer. Bro, go to a different barber, dog. Your barber's a pervert. Yeah, you got pedophile hands touching your head. You should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed to be openly getting directives from a fucking anime VTuber that every other fucking VTuber hates because he's a gross, lolly enjoying, genocide enjoying loser. Like, every time you come in here, you're basically saying, "Hey man, I'm here on behalf of a pedophile." The fuck? It's weird. It's the same bullshit. It's the same fucking bullshit that Sam High Defenders were doing. There's another VTuber being a white supremacist that made headlines. Yeah, I saw. And the only reason why I saw it is because apparently after that fucking loser ass VTuber got banned, immediately they were hitting the Hasan loves terrorism and he's not banned, so why can't I say that it was good that George Floyd got killed or some shit? And it's like, I don't know, maybe because you're a fucking gross little freak.
Now, there's no concrete evidence that Nux ever promoted or showcased anything that meets the legal threshold. But Hasan used that accusation anyway, framing it as a fact in front of thousands of viewers. Why, you might be thinking? It's because Nux disagrees with him politically. It's one thing to critique someone's content or call people out for bad behavior, but to label someone as a predator based on vague accusations you didn't research, that's crossing the line. Naturally, Nux responded. He posted tweets and videos bringing up Hasan's own questionable moments, highlighting how hypocritical it was to sling these accusations. This wasn't just drama, it showed how Hasan uses his platform to silence critiques through character attacks. If someone disagrees with him, they're not just wrong, they're dangerous, problematic, or evil. And that's a dangerous precedent to set. Another creator who found himself in Hasan's crosshairs was Tectone, a well-known content creator in the gacha game scene. The feud escalated quickly, especially after Tectone clashed with Frogan, a friend and frequent orbiter of Hasan. The disagreement was over Frogan's past comments about US soldiers, and after Tectone called her out, he was temporarily banned from Twitch for calling her fat. That alone was enough to spark tensions, but the beef didn't stop there. Tectone's criticisms of Frogan soon extended to Hasan and others in his orbit, accusing them of supporting terrorism and engaging in political extremism. And that's when Hasan got personal fast. In response, Hasan brought up Tectone's father's criminal record. He aired sensitive information and implied that Tectone himself was a rapist simply because of his father's crimes.
I think it's pretty crazy. Oh, here's the, I think this was what I saw. Yeah, this is what I saw on the timeline.
The biggest photo you see is of Colonel Michael Robertson. He was convicted of 14 accounts of sexual assault. He only served 90 days in jail and paid a $30,000 fine.
Bro, that is the craziest. I mean, it's not even a milkshake duck style situation because it's like for a milkshake duck to occur, like this needs to be a beloved figure and not a bald rapist himself, right? But what was hilarious about this, situation is like, I didn't know anything about his dad, you know? Literally, where is this reference? You posted, come in with receipts posted, bro. So where did this reference happen? Do you think this person will change their perspective about this guy? Hokai Impact third. Got to be the best game. Australia, motherfucker. Yeah, like what? Why would you invite people looking for this information? It's so crazy. Okay, I investigated by myself, and there's a person with the same name, rank, and similar age to Tectone's dad, and he was indeed found guilty of 14 counts of sexual harassment. It definitely wasn't his dad. His dad served in the late 80s, the early 90s. Anything after that, he probably wasn't active and was a reserve. Plus, I know people like Casey, blah, blah, blah. He literally references his dad as Iron Mike, which was also the nickname explicitly referenced in the trial of Michael Robertson. It's pretty obviously his father-in-law. It's not a surprise considering the history of sexual abuse that runs in the family. Like, this man has, I guess, epigenetic memories of rape. He had to do it, you know? He just couldn't. He couldn't stop himself because it's just like, it's a familial obligation over here. He literally says, should we call you Colonel in the podcast? Colonel Michael Robertson, Lamau. In the video, he literally said he served in Vietnam. The same Colonel Michael Robertson in the assault trial who served, guess where? Vietnam, Lem Phao. I think it's Tectone. Your father was a literal terrorist. Asman's father was a Vietnam invader. Both of you don't have the right to call anyone terrorist. Okay, listen, Asman dad is good in my book, okay? He is a liberal.
Let's pause there for a second. Whatever Tectone's father did has absolutely nothing to do with Tectone himself. This wasn't a gotcha. It was a smear campaign. Hasan tried to discredit someone by dragging up irrelevant and traumatic family history. That's not just a low blow, it's unethical. The situation grew even more uncomfortable when Tectone's ex-girlfriend Pink Chu spoke up and referenced past allegations of sexual misconduct in their relationship while bringing up his dad. Tectone publicly denied the claims, stated he was fully cooperative with law enforcement, and asserted that he would defend himself legally if necessary. Hasan used all of this, his father's crimes, past relationship drama, and vague accusations to paint Tectone as a predator. There was no nuance, no restraint, just a brutal attempt to destroy someone's reputation in front of a massive audience. Eventually, the pressure mounted to the point where Tectone had to go live and publicly explain himself, not to address his own actions, but to clear his name for things he had nothing to do with.
But he told me. He told me that he has cancer. And he doesn't think that he has much time left. And so, due to that, which was about 3 or so years ago, I take him back into my life, and it was pretty bumpy. It was pretty bumpy. We maybe talked about once every 3 or 4 months or so. Every now and then we would go get some food. My father wasn't particularly fond of my ex-wife, so we would never really interact that much when she was around. And obviously he took some of the aggression out on me. About 2 days before he got sent to jail, I got back from soccer practice, which I joined because I wanted to make my dad proud. And I put an empty orange soda can on top of my trash can. And my father threw me to the ground and put a gun against my head. And he said, "Give me a good reason not to shoot you." And my brother Mike intervened, and he got me out of that situation. And once my father got sent to prison, I was just a little bit uncomfortable with my life. And so my brother encouraged me to get as far away from this family as humanly possible. Now, obviously, this isn't really anything that I just really want to talk about on stream. However, a really great Twitch streamer is just making me relive my childhood trauma because of all this, which is great. I suppose, due to this all being resurfaced by Hasan, I suppose I will no longer be interacting with my father in any way, shape, or form on my stream or my content. The past 24 hours have been very shocking. It has been very alarming. And I don't really know what to think. Due to what my father was convicted for, which really hurts to say.
Now let's talk about Hasan's beef with Asmongold. Hasan and Asmon used to be on good terms. Both were major streamers with huge audiences, often covering similar topics. But things started to fall apart when Asmon began focusing more on political content that frequently clashed with Hasan's far-left views. Tensions really exploded after Hasan's interview with Tim Houthi Chalamet, the self-proclaimed Houthi pirate. Many saw the interview as a blatant violation of Twitch terms of service. Asmongold would later cover it on stream and walk back his initial statements on the matter. He would call for Twitch to do better.
He's back. He's back, bro. Luffy on the come up. So basically what happened is that there was a terrorist that Hasan interviewed, and Hasan glazed this terrorist way too much. In my opinion, after watching it, I think that Hasan probably should have gotten suspended for that.
Bro, are we about to have a Houthi rebel on stream? Yes, brother. I'm a journalist, okay? This is journalism. Does he know what One Piece is?
He's been watching it since he was a kid.
No way! We love you too, man.
I love you. I love you so much.
We're big fans of the... We think the Houthis, Ansar Allah, is doing what Luffy would do.
Are you a soldier? Yes.
Well, and so, because I didn't know how bad it was. I think interviewing a terrorist is fine, but the way that you do it has to be in a way that's journalistic. I don't think that his way was journalistic, right? So this happens. This is the person who he interviewed. Obviously, the person ended up getting banned. And then this person, who again is a terrorist, they are a self-identified soldier terrorist. He gets unbanned one time. There's a big pushback against it. He gets banned again. Now he's getting unbanned again. So right now we have someone who is a literal terrorist who has been unbanned by Twitch 2 times. I mean, does Amazon know about this? This is crazy. You're either fucking up so much it looks like you're supporting terrorist groups, or you're just supporting terrorist groups. I think in both circumstances, the entire leadership team needs to be reevaluated.
Whose only experience is like, it's literally like talking to fucking Anne Frank, basically, okay? Being able to talk to Anne Frank.
From that point on, Hasan started attacking Asmongold publicly, calling him racist, calling him a pedophile, anything to discredit him.
I think you're in a bad mood. I'm a little bit. I'm in a little bit in a bad mood, I guess. Not necessarily. Hilarious cope, I know. Yeah, I'm pushing the young men to the right by being mentally weak.
I don't know. I think Hasan deals with tons of harassment. I don't think he's really mentally weak. I don't think so. I don't think that's it. Hasan says he's never slandered Asmongold nor asked for his ban. What about when he said that half of my hard drive was like lolly stuff and I loved lollies? Remember that? What about that? That was like fucking like 2 weeks ago. That's pretty bad.
Charitability on almost all occasions until you continue to slander him. What do you expect? Back at the end of the day, what are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? I've never even demanded that he gets fucking banned off the platform. You know that, right?
I don't think. I think he just needs suspended. Like, you just stop supporting terrorist organizations. The bar is on the ground. Like, I'm not asking that you have to wear a "Make America Great" hat and say that Trump is the best president. Just stop supporting terrorist groups. Holy fuck! I'm not. Why is this so hard?
When he said Palestinians are an inferior culture that deserves to be fucking genocided. You understand that?
He's doing it right now. I never said deserve. I said I didn't care. And I also said I was wrong for saying it. So this is the difference, is that when I say something wrong, not only is it misunderstood, but it's also, and not even misunderstood, it's intentionally misled. You drive that, yeah, I said I was wrong. I shouldn't have said this, stupid. I can read this real quick. It's very bad faith and dishonest to make it look like you have the moral high ground to look better. Yeah. And this is really what I'm saying, is that I just want everybody to see that, like, and again, Hasan is doing all of this. He's retweeting people that are trying to call me a mom-murdering cockroach, and he's using Palestinians as a shield for this disgusting behavior. That's what he's doing. He uses causes, and he tries to make like, oh, well, why do you care about this? Because, like, it's the genocide that matters. Well, it's because you care about it. You're the one that's starting it. That's it. And it's like nobody can criticize you because you think that you have some greater agenda that makes you beyond criticism. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. It's disgusting. And yeah, he's using Palestinians like Hamas. I'm not going to even go. I'm not even going to go there, right? Like, I don't even need to go there. It's just disgusting behavior. And it's a massive, massive. And meanwhile, Tectone got banned for calling Frogan fat. That's right. And so, and keep this in mind, by the way. So he's retweeting, he's calling Tectone a generational familial obligation to rape. You know, he's retweeting people that are talking about, like, you know, saying that I murdered my mom and I'm a cockroach, right? He's doing all this stuff. Meanwhile, at the same time, Tectone gets banned for 2 weeks, that gets reduced, to be fair, for calling Frogan fat.
But unlike others, Asmongold didn't take the bait. He refused to stoop to Hasan's level and explained on stream why he doesn't engage with Hasan's slander.
Asmongold scared shitless. New meta is to say I'm in bad faith. People love chirping from nog boxes. Listen, the reason why I don't want to talk to Hasan is he lies. You just lie. That's the problem. If I thought people would engage in good faith, I would be okay with that. But most people lie. And so why deal with people that lie? It's really not that complicated. So yeah, and also, like, I mean, I don't like debating and arguing with people. Like, if you want me to be totally honest, I just don't like doing it. Like, I don't do it with anybody. So it's not like it's really some kind of specific personal thing with him, right? It's just the way I feel. And Junkman, thank you very much for the 7 gifted subs. I appreciate it, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And read the reply. No, it's not that important to me or whatever. But anyway, yeah, debating's a waste of time. I think that in most of the time it is. But let's see if I...
Even so, the damage was already done. Hasan's audience was already convinced that Asmongold was some kind of bigot simply because he dared to disagree with him on political issues.
Hasan tells Mexican Asmongold fan that he would want him to perish.
Asmongold on top.
So let's step back for a moment and just visualize the setting. Someone who has followed Hasan for more than 3 years joined his chat and said, Asmongold on top. Then Hasan instantly proceeded to do a TSA background check on the guy.
Who the fuck is this? Hasan, I'm a big fan. I love you. I love Hasan. And then he comes back to say Asmongold on top. He is not black. No, I think he is. Check his description. He's Mexican. Oh my Lord.
Why do you even read these? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to yourself? Like, this is embarrassing.
Bro, Asmongold thinks dudes that look like you should perish.
Now I want to kill Mexicans too.
Oh jeez. Oh wow. Oh god. What do you say? What do you do? Dudes that look like you. Yeah, I guess so. That's why I'm friends with a lot of dudes that look like him. You know what they say? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Another one of you 14-year-old pasty little skin dumb motherfuckers or shit dick dumb motherfuckers calls me little bro.
Who do you think is more pathetic in this regard?
Who is it?
Under normal circumstances, if you were to show his content or commentary to like average people in your life, I think they would probably think less of you.
I've had more people come up to me. This is what's really sad. This is how wrong Hasan is. I recently went to an anime convention. I had a bunch of young girls coming up to me and saying, my mom and my dad watch your stream. Can I get a photo with you? They'll love it.
Bro, it's over. Just cut it off.
Do you want to know what real people would think if you went and you showed them terrorist propaganda like a Hezbollah recruitment video? They would think that, oh my god. Oh my god. Is today... Like, you start showing somebody some fucking terrorist propaganda out of nowhere in a public space? A normal person?
Bro, Asmongold thinks dudes that look like you should perish.
Hasan is now the arbiter if Mexicans can like me or not.
This is how Hasan operates. Frames an opposition as morally bankrupt so you never have to engage with their arguments. It's not activism, it's manipulation. After all this, Hasan found himself making headlines again, this time at the airport. In early May 2025, Hasan tweeted that he had been detained by U.S. Custom Border Protections after returning from an overseas trip. He claimed that the agents questioned him for about 2 hours, asking invasive political questions like, "What do you think about Donald Trump?"
For those of you who don't know, I was detained by Customs and Border Patrol inside of the O'Hare Airport. I get to the global entry line and they're processing everybody expeditiously. Gets to me, take a photo, boom, walk in. Instantly, the Customs and Border Patrol agent goes, "Step aside, sir. An agent will come and take you to another location." I was like, is that proper protocol? It's like, sometimes it happens. There's a detention area. I'm sitting there. There's like a bunch of terrified families. There's an old lady in a wheelchair. Finally, this agent comes out. They take me to this back room and we got to talking. And let me tell you folks, the TikTokers that talked about being detained, they were right. It was an insane situation. So it's very obvious that they knew exactly who the I was. It's very obvious that they knew how to like navigate the conversation. You know, he's like, "Oh, what are you doing in Chicago?" And I was very revealing. I was like, "I want to take my family out for Mother's Day to France, but I had to come back early from France because I have a speaking engagement at University of Chicago." And he was like, "Oh, what kind of speaking engagement?" It's like, I don't know, some like journalism school stuff. And he's like, "Oh, well, since you mentioned that, what do you do as a job?" And I was like, "I'm a Twitch streamer." And he's like, "Well, since you mentioned that, what kind of things do you stream about?" So I was just like, "I play video games, but I also do current events sometimes." And he's like, "Since you mentioned that, do you talk about the news?" And I was like, "Yeah, I talk about the news." "So when you talk about the news, do you talk about the war?" And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" He's like, "Do you talk about Trump?" And that was the first time where I was like, what the is this question? Like, I literally straight up told him, I was like, "Why are you asking me this?" Like, what does this have to do with anything? None of these questions are actually valid questions to ask. But I was entertaining it because, one, I didn't want to present it as being difficult because I didn't want to extend the detention. And two, I actually wanted to see how far I could take it. And I'm glad I did this because the reality of the matter is I'm profoundly privileged. I'm a public person. I have enough money to be able to fight back against this sort of thing. And they know who the I am. So obviously the reason for why they're doing that is, I think, to try to create an environment of fear, to try to get people like myself, or at least like others that would be in my shoes that don't have that same level of security, to shut the up. And I'm going to use the privilege that I have in that moment to try and see what the they're doing. Every single thing that they ask me, he's literally not allowed. Like, what the do you mean? Why is this denying me entry into the country of my birth? You can't just stop me at the border and be like, "What's your opinion on Donald Trump?" You're not allowed to enter the nation.
Naturally, this went viral. Hasan framed it as a political prosecution, and several media outlets picked up the story. He even made it onto late night TV.
And if you criticize that, or any aspect of Trump's foreign policy, you might have some trouble next time you're at the airport.
Popular left-wing Twitch streamer and YouTuber Hasan Piker says he was detained at a U.S. airport for hours this weekend and questioned by U.S. Customs and Border Protection about his political beliefs, specifically on Gaza and President Trump.
The Customs and Border Patrol agent at the gate told me to step aside and that another agent would be coming over to take me to a separate location. We arrived at questions about what my opinions were on Donald Trump. I told him I don't like Donald Trump. After that, he asked me about my opinion on Israel and my opinion on what's going on in Gaza.
I mean, that's insane. I can't imagine having to answer questions like that. I melt down anytime I get asked simple questions at passport control. Not only is it wrong to detain people for their constitutionally protected speech, it also won't work. You can't stop people from speaking up about America's morally disastrous policy towards Gaza, which is opposed by a majority of Americans.
But it didn't take long for the internet to do what it does best. Users analyzed the timeline based on Hasan's own tweets and flight records, concluding that the entire ordeal only lasted maybe 40 minutes. Even Customs and Border Protections released a public statement contradicting some of Hasan's claims.
When asked for comment about Piker, a Department of Homeland Security official called his account nothing but lying for likes. Claims that his political beliefs triggered the inspection are baseless. Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said in a statement, "Our officers are following the law, not agendas." Upon entering the country, this individual was referred for further inspection, a routine, lawful process that occurs daily and can apply for any traveler. Once his inspection was complete, he was promptly released.
And when confronted about the discrepancies, Hasan changed his tune. On a later stream with Bad Empanada, he was asked how long he was actually detained. His answer was, "I don't know."
So how long was the interview?
Oh, I don't fucking know, dude. I have no idea. He's I think they did a
I mean, you probably weren't counting.
They did like a timeline assessment, and I think they like added some time to like when the plane landed or something. I don't fucking know. Like, who gives a shit?
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's like Hasan Piker was only interviewed for 30 minutes. Okay, so what? I mean, they
Like,
interviewed
the
you like
point of-
in
the
the
point of
place where they
contention-
take the non-citizens. That's
Yeah,
the whole
the
problem.
point of contention there isn't like the length of my interrogation. The point of contention there is the fact that they asked me about like what my loyalty is to Donald Trump. The total runtime of it was like 2 hours, which was definitely faster than I thought it was going to be.
How long did
This
it
is
last?
America.
How long did it last?
The whole process took over about 2 hours, and they went back and forth. Like there was a point where he asked me all these questions. Like,
So how did they finally release you? What was that's the question.
they just questioned me, kept me in there for like 2 hours.
If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Okay, time's up.
So what is it? Was it 2 hours or do you not know? This isn't about whether 40 minutes of questioning is justified, it's about credibility. Hasan exaggerated the story for drama and attention, and when it backfired, he played dumb. That's why people are upset. Not because he got the timeline wrong, but because he's shown once again that he's an unreliable narrator. Only a couple of weeks after that, Hasan sparks even more outrage, this time for his reaction to a horrific act of violence.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
On May 22, 2025, a man was arrested for fatally shooting 2 Israeli embassy staffers in Washington, D.C., while reportedly shouting "Free Palestine." Hasan covered the event on stream, and instead of condemning the violence outright, he called the shooter genuine, then speculated that the incident could be easily interpreted as a false flag.
but like I'm not Mr. False Flag at all, but like every single thing that he did in the aftermath of the shooting is so fucking crazy that it's like you could not have fucking designed a incident like this. You could not have designed a better false flag incident like this. I'm not saying it is a false flag incident at all. I'm not saying that. I think this is just a one dude who is genuine in his actions and maybe, you know, a little bit brain broken. Okay.
This kind of rhetoric is dangerous. Whether he meant it or not, calling a double homicide genuine or suggesting it may be staged sends a signal to his audience, and they heard it loud and clear. In fact, while Hasan was reading the shooter's manifesto live on stream, he put his chat in sub-only mode. Even then, nearly everyone in the chat was spamming heart emojis.
All of these figures are almost surely a criminal undercount. I have no trouble believing the estimates that put the toll at 100,000 or more. More have been murdered since March of this year than in the Protective Edge and Kaslet put together. These are two previous sieges that Israel implemented on Gaza in the past. Okay? What more at this point can one say about the proportion of mangled and burned and exploded human beings whom were children? We who let this happen will never deserve the Palestinians' forgiveness. They've let us know as much. An armed action is not necessarily a military action. It usually is not. Usually it is theater and a spectacle.
That's the kind of community he's cultivated. One that openly sympathizes with a murderer because their political views align. It didn't stop there. Hasan's behavior led to a 24-hour Twitch ban for improper handling of terrorist propaganda. And yes, he only got a 24-hour ban. Compare that to creators like Tectone, who got 2 weeks for calling someone fat. The double standard is so blatant. And after the ban, people noticed something strange. All of Hasan's recent VODs and clips were deleted. Every stream just gone. If that's not an attempt to cover your tracks, then I don't know what is. And just to add fuel to the fire, the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, name dropped Hasan on CNN, calling out his platform and rhetoric.
But all of us need to call it out. I'm thinking about the New York Times doing a gauzy profile a few weeks ago of this gamer, Hasan Piker, who regularly employs awful genocidal rhetoric against Jewish people in the Jewish state. Like, extremists should not be empowered. People who spout prejudice should not be platformed. This is a moment when we need to look ourselves in the mirror and say, we've got to stop this because the consequences are deadly.
Hasan responded as expected with mockery, deflection, and more performative outrage. But what he didn't do was take any accountability for the fact that someone with his level of influence casually platformed a manifesto while his chat cheered it on.
After, like, the bodies haven't even gotten cold yet, and Jonathan Greenblatt goes on CNN to be like, you know who killed these people? Hasan played a big role in this. It's like there is unprecedented amount of overt anti-Semitism out there, and this fucking freak is looking to blame someone like myself for it. You are just such an unserious charlatan, dude. Quit, okay? Resign in disgrace. Disband the organization. Stop doing this.
But all of us need to call it out. I'm thinking about the New York Times doing a gauzy profile a few weeks ago of this gamer, Hasan Piker, who regularly employs awful genocidal rhetoric against Jewish people in the Jewish state. Like, extremists.
Like, that's so psychotic to say. No, I don't. Okay? No, the fuck I don't. Against Jewish people. Genocidal rhetoric that I regularly apply. Also, gamer? Gamer? I haven't played a fucking video game in months. Utterly depraved shit by the way. Utterly depraved shit. He's like, whoa, a shooting took place against like against people that worked at the Israeli embassy. Time to immediately make this about my favorite villain. Like, what are you are you insane? Like, what are you doing? This is the reason why, for the record, nobody cares about what ADL says anymore. It's lost its institutional motion. And the reason why it's lost its institutional motion and prominence is because this is what Jonathan Greenblatt is busy with.
So, why is Hasan so hated in 2025? It's not just one thing, it's a long pattern of behavior. Making excuses for terrorist groups.
I have no problem with the Houthis. Yeah, because I don't. What do you mean? If you think I'm a terrorism supporter for that reason, then yeah, I'm a fucking terrorism supporter. What are you talking about?
Dismissing atrocities.
You deny that mass rapes happen, not that rapes happen. Listen to my words.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I
good.
Do deny.
Slandering fellow content creators to silence criticisms.
You should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed of getting to be openly getting directives from a fucking anime VTuber that every other fucking VTuber hates because he's a gross, lolly enjoying, genocide enjoying loser. Like, this man has, I guess, epigenetic memories of rape. He had to do it, you know? He just couldn't. He couldn't stop himself because it's just like, it's a familial obligation over here. Bro, Asmongold thinks dudes that look like you should perish.
Exaggerating incidents for attention.
The total runtime of it was like 2 hours. How long did it last? The whole process took over about 2 hours. They just questioned me, kept me in there for like 2 hours.
So how long was the interview?
Oh, I don't fucking know, dude. I have no idea. I'm sad about the damage you've done to your cause. Palestine's caused by your lies about your detention at the airport. Dude, a denial of reality is so fucking funny in this circumstance because, like, the Department of Homeland Security came out and admitted that it took place, and these motherfuckers still are like, nah.
What? What are you talking about?
When asked for comment about Piker, a Department of Homeland Security official called his account nothing but lying for likes.
But anywho, and creating a community that radicalizes around him.
Journalist, okay? This is journalism. Does he know what One Piece is?
He's been watching it since he was a kid.
The whole way! We love you too, man.
I love you. I love you so much.
We're big fans of the
Hasan presents himself as a voice for the oppressed, but his actions tell a different story. One of ego, misinformation, and recklessness. And the more people see through it, the more backlash he gets. That's not hate. That's people finding cracks in the person called Hasan Piker.
Crazy how Hasan just doesn't want us to help Gazans.
Oh my god. Oh, they're so gross, dude. They're such disgusting genocidal propagandists. Oh my god. Oh, it's crazy how Hasan doesn't want us to help the Palestinians. Wait, did she even say Palestinians? Hold on, maybe she did.
It's really crazy how Hasan just doesn't want us to help Gazans.
Oh, she didn't even say Palestinians. She said Gazans. Yeah. Here, another great way to figure out Ahmed Al-Khatib being a bad faith actor is that he calls himself a Gazan American. He doesn't even call himself a Palestinian American. That designation does matter. Disgusting. I read showed that there was a humanitarian crisis in Gaza, that Gazans did not have access to clean water. Gazans. Disgusting. All fucking infrastructure that Gazans and Palestinians as a whole have. Disgusting. And to die. And certainly the Gazans civilians to die as well. Disgusting.